Welcome to the Money Hour with Tina Mitchell. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, NMLS 7233. The views expressed by the speakers on the following program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC. Now, in the studio, local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome to the Money Hour at 11:50 a.m. KKNW, the Saturday, February 17th show. I am your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell. Each week I share expert advice and inside knowledge on how today's events and our local economy can affect your money. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. To connect with my guest or connect with myself, please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And my lineup for today's show, Tyler McKenzie, owner and designated broker with John L. Scott Real Estate, West Seattle. I have a lot of real estate brokers that listen to my show, so this one's for you. Brokers, listen up. You better fully commit or step away from the business. Advice coming from Tyler. Also in studio, Keith Medley and Brian Walker with Final Phase Inspection. How to spot hidden issues on flipped homes. And my last guest in studio, Jennifer Black with Caring Transitions Seattle. Understanding the why of what Caring Transitions Seattle is all about. And great information, great guest in studio. As always, for more information on any topic discussed, please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And now for today's Money Chat.
Money.
So today I wanted to share a low appraisal solution. With the lack of inventory, it's a crazy real estate market out there. To be competitive, buyers are waiving finance contingency or agreeing to pay the difference in appraised value if the appraisal comes in low. I will say I'm not having issues with appraisals not supporting the agreed purchase price, but this does not solve the concern that you may have about the possibility of the appraisal coming in low. This concern may make you nervous about going in with your best foot forward and being able and willing to waive the appraisal contingency if you feel that's the best option for you. I'd like to eliminate that concern so that you can go in with a strong offer and put yourself in a good position when competing in this multiple offer arena. So here is my creative financing solution. Buy out private mortgage insurance. Now, we don't have a visual with the show, but you should be able to stick with me on this to see what a huge benefit and a creative finance option that this can do for you. So let's say a contract, your purchase price offer was accepted at $700,000. You're doing a loan to value of 80% or a 20% down payment to avoid paying PMI private mortgage insurance. The loan amount would be $560,000. Down payment at 20% would be $140,000. Your principal and interest payment at a 4.5% interest rate. I'm not quoting interest rates to here. This is just for illustration purposes only. There's a lot of factors and market conditions that's going to affect your rate. But at an estimated 4.5%, that would put your principal and interest payment at $2,837. Does not include taxes and insurance. Now, let's say that the appraisal value comes back low. $100,000. That means it came in at $600,000 when your offer price was $700,000. So here's the creativity. We'll lend up to 95%, putting your loan amount at $570,000. The down payment, let's take it down to 5%. This would only be $30,000 plus the short in the appraisal of $100,000. So now that brings you up cash out of pocket at $130,000. You were planning on coming in with $140,000. Now we do have to add in a one-time cost for buying out the mortgage insurance, your PMI buyout. In this example, we'll say $9,975. That's 1.75% of the loan amount. So that means total cash out of pocket would be $139,975. This is $25 less than the original $140,000 you were planning on coming in with. Now, let's talk about even the better news. Principal and interest payment, same interest rate, 4.5%, illustration purposes only. Total principal and interest payment would be $2,888. It's $51 a month higher. $25 less cash, only $51 higher in the mortgage payment. So this is a great solution for you to be able to go in with confidence in possibly with your agent's recommendation or coaching on what might need to be done. Because ultimately, as a buyer, you have to decide what you're willing and not willing to do. I should backstep because your agent broker is not going to tell you what to do, just give you the options of what you need to do. But I will say in this competitive market, you have to go in strong. So there's some decisions that you need to make your offer appealing with all of the other multiple offers. So this is a way for you to go in with confidence that it's okay if the appraisal value doesn't come in at value, and you're okay paying that additional amount for the home, but still not having to come in with additional funds at closing. Now, in this situation, here's all of the solutions. Seller reduces the price by $100,000 to match the appraised value. That is not going to happen. Not in this market, not in this environment that we're in right now. The second option is you, the buyer, keeps the agreed price and comes in with additional cash needed at closing. Maybe that's the option that you were concerned about and did not want to have to do. Option 3, buyer lowers the down payment to 5%, just as I said, and private mortgage insurance buyout again costs $9,975. This could be paid by the seller instead of lowering the purchase price by $100,000, so the difference in negotiation is $9,025. Now, that's not going to happen if you waived your appraisal contingency. So option 4, which we just went over, buyer lowers the down payment to 5%. The cash needed at closing lowers $25, including the buyout of the private mortgage insurance with a payment increase of $51 a month. Not knowing all of your options to possibly be competitive in the market could possibly lose your dream home. And that's really what I wanted to go over with today, is to help you see that there are options out there, financial options, that you want to make sure that you see them all. And that's Money Chat for today. Coming up next on the Money Hour, are you a real estate broker trying to navigate through today's real estate environment? You will not want to miss my next guest, Tyler McKenzie, owner and designated broker with John L. Scott Real Estate, West Seattle, right here on 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
Would you like to make a real difference for local individuals and families that are struggling with poverty, homelessness, abuse, and violence? Assistance League of the East Side is an all-volunteer, nonprofit organization that works to improve the lives of our neighbors every day. With your generosity, we can help individuals and families right here in our community through our philanthropic programs, including Operation School Bell. This year, Operation School Bell has provided 3,500 local children in need the opportunity to shop for new clothes, shoes, and coats. This helps them focus on learning, and they go to school with more confidence. To learn more about how you can become a volunteer with our organization or make a tax-deductible donation, visit aleastside.org.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, February 17th show. I am dedicated to my listeners, providing you with the tools needed to make informed decisions on matters that affect your money. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150, or online at themoneyhour.com to connect with the guests that I have in studio or connect with me, your host. And right now in studio, I have Tyler McKenzie, owner, designated broker with John L. Scott Real Estate, West Seattle. For all of my real estate brokers listening to the show, this one is for you. Brokers, listen up. You better fully commit or step away from the business. Coming directly from Tyler. Tyler, thank you so much for coming back into studio.
Tina, thank you. It's always a delight. Good to see you.
You too. And a little bit about Tyler. As owner, designated broker, Tyler is responsible for the supervision of the broker team. A residential real estate professional in the greater Seattle area since 2001, Tyler has been delivering successful outcomes to home buyers and sellers through both the best and worst times in the industry. Tyler believes what has helped him succeed during even the most difficult periods of real estate are his marketing, negotiation, and creative problem-solving skills, which is now employs in leading his team of top producer brokers. Considered a top leader in his professional locally as well as the state and national levels, Tyler's impressive credentials include 2016 Washington Realtors Realtor of the Year and 2016 King County Realtors Realtor of the Year, 2017 IMNA News IMNA Innovator Awards nominee, Initiative Agent, 2015 President, Seattle King County Realtors, 6,000 plus members, Vice President of Membership, 2017 Washington Realtors, 18,000 plus members, 2016 Leadership Academy, National Association of Realtors, NAR, one of the 18 agents selected from across the nation's 1.3 million members to participate. 2016 through 2017, Director NAR, Board of Directors of Community Member, Certified International Property Specialist, Advisory Board, and Chair Standing Global Real Estate Council, Seattle King County Realtors. Tyler also maintains his real estate instructor's license and appears regularly on industry-related podcasts and other media outlets nationwide, of course, right here on the Money Hour, and just very proud to have you here, Tyler, and appreciate as busy in all the things that you do, not only in your real estate broker company, managing and having top agents, but everything that you give back to our community and to the real estate agents with all of your time committed to helping things be the way that they should be. So again, Tyler, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tina. I wasn't aware that you can read all of that.
Well, of course I would. I don't want to leave anything out. I want to know my listeners. I've got the best of the best right here in studio with me. So let's start out this topic. Again, you know, it's for real estate brokers that are listening, because I have a lot of them that listen to the show, but also on a consumer to really understand the importance of what happens behind the scenes for a real estate broker and some of the challenges that they're going through and why it's so important to make sure that you're working with an industry leader, somebody that's established in the market, or at least is around agents that are navigating through this crazy, and I'd like to say once in a lifetime career, but for me over 2 decades, I've never seen anything like this. So, you know, it's crazy out there. So Tyler, bold statement that I announced here, brokers listen up, you better fully commit or step away from the business. Can you explain?
I can. I'm going to preface that by commenting on your introduction to the show and your comments about financing. Specifically, buyers electing to waive all of their contingencies. And this message goes out to licensees out there. If you're telling your buyers to waive all of their contingencies, I invite you to leave the business.
Yes.
It is not for us to tell our clients what to do. It is for us to help our clients make informed decisions. And whenever I have a conversation with a buyer about what it takes to win in this crazy environment of ours, it is precisely a conversation about what it takes to win, not what they should be doing. So I want to make that distinction, and thank you for also doing that.
Yes, I had to back up a little bit in the way I was said it, because exactly, you're really just giving all of the options, not advising, but here's what it is, and you make a decision.
Absolutely right. You hit it dead on. A couple of weeks ago, I was invited by Zillow to go speak with some of their sales force and talk with them about what it means to be in our profession. They thought it would be useful to have me come in and do that. And one of the questions that they really wanted to have an answer to was, what is it like to be in our profession? So I entered the room, and there were about dozen and a half or so millennials sitting around a large table. We had a feed in from New York and one from California. And I looked at everybody around the room, and I asked the question, how many of you work 7 days a week? 2 hands went up.
Okay.
Acknowledge that. And said, okay, for the rest of you and for those of you who do work 7 days a week, how many of you do it for free? And, of course, no hands went up.
Yep.
And I said, that is the life of a realtor in our profession. Oftentimes we'll work with buyers and sellers for days, weeks, months, even years on end, offering the best counsel that we have to give and not get compensated for it. And, you know, to my mind, I think this is the toughest white-collar profession there is out there. I know in my own business I work 7 days a week. I know that most of my brokers work 7 days a week. It's by choice.
Sure.
You know, we obviously decided that we wanted to do this for a living, but it is grueling in that regard, and it's made more so by the climate that we're in. You know, for instance, I wrote an offer last week for clients on a West Seattle property. There were 11 pre-inspections, 4 going on when we were doing ours. There were ultimately 11 offers tendered. I'm pleased to say that my clients prevailed. But that's the climate that we're in, and that means that's 10 buyers who went home without a house, and 10 brokers who went home without a paycheck.
And definitely probably not the first one that they got turned down.
Exactly.
Yes.
So my message to new licensees out there is that don't get into this business unless you intend to be all in.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah.
If you want to kick tires or flip houses or dabble with it, this is not the right place, not the right climate, not the right profession.
Yeah, great advice.
I know that's a pretty direct
well, but it's a direct is good. It's
message.
The truth. And, really coming in and understanding what you're getting yourself into. It's a great industry to be able to help people get homes, and people's offers are getting accepted. But you have to go out there and you've got to fight the fight. And I know a lot of times agents, being that you're not telling your clients what they need to do, but giving them all their options, there's a lot of times contracts you're going through the process and writing that up, knowing that, there's not going to be a possibility that they're going to get it. But that's what the client wants to do and to be able to submit to move forward. So it's a lot of work. So Tyler, what other things do licensees need to know?
What else do licensees?
I know there's a lot, but...
Again, I think if you're going to get into the business, you need to know that that you have to be all in. I won't hire people who are not committed to a successful outcome. First and foremost, you should know getting into the business that there are going to be a lot of up at bats with a lot of strikes and a few hits. And if you come out of the starting gate and you have a string of successes, that's fabulous. But if you haven't developed the tools to build a marketing plan and manage a database and develop a pipeline, then after those successes, you're going to fall on hard times and wonder what the heck happened to all of your business.
Yeah.
So it's, I counsel our team members that any system is better than no system. Even if it's on a napkin, I don't care. I want to see a business plan. I want to see that you have a vision for an outcome that's achievable, that there's synergy between what you want and your ability to accomplish it, and that it's well considered. And I just, I've turned a corner on this business in the last 6 months to a year, and my time is too valuable to devote it to members of our profession who are not prepared to do what it takes to behave ethically, responsibly, and effectively, and to serve their clients' best interests.
Yeah, and Tyler, I believe, and I know you do as well, that where challenge is opportunity, and I really think an equal portion. So how do you share that with your agents, that really this is, in this challenging environment, challenging for the agent because it's challenging for their buyers, the lack of inventory and all of that? What is the opportunity in this market right now for a real estate broker?
I think this is the best profession there is, and the opportunity is not just to build a path to personal success, but to help people achieve the American dream.
Yes.
As a realtor, and you are familiar with my background, there's nothing I'm more passionate about than what I believe is our mission, which is to as I said before, preserve the American dream and protect people's most expensive investment that they will be making likely in their entire lives. And if you're a retiree, and I know we have a guest who's going to be talking about that, protecting your retirement. It's about building wealth and preserving wealth.
Yes.
And studies have shown that homeownership, people who own homes are substantially wealthier than those who do not. By an order of magnitude. Generally speaking, communities are more stable where there is a high degree of home ownership, and all of these things are important in just keeping intact the fabric of our society. Yeah.
So being prepared and have a realistic understanding of the challenges that are coming in, having a really great plan. What else is it to be successful in this market as a real estate broker?
Acting with integrity, of course, because your reputation is everything. And if you are planning on building a by-referral business, then referrals matter. Great case in point, I just saw an interview recently with Simon Sinek, who's a big leadership consultant across multiple industries, but he was being interviewed within the real estate industry recently, and he commented about his own experience buying a house. And It was in another part of the country, but effectively it was an unfortunate experience. He did not feel that he was well advocated for.
Okay.
This tells me two things. Know your client, especially if he's got a national audience and to the tune of many millions of people.
Yes.
and take care of your client.
Uh-huh.
Whether it's that person with a big audience or somebody with an audience of one, it doesn't matter. Our job is to take care of our clients.
Yeah.
And to advocate for them and protect their interests.
So the biggest recipe for failure?
Don't do any of those things.
All right. Then I could assume the biggest recipe for success would be to follow all of that advice.
Yeah, to pull up your bootstraps and get cracking and know that this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It is definitely a race of tortoises.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful profession. But it's, if you do well in a climate like ours today, imagine how well you will do when things are easier whenever that day comes.
And if you do really well in a climate like it is today, imagine what a step up you have from all of your competitors, because majority cannot, are not able to survive in this environment. So let's talk about the difference between a realtor and a realtor.
Okay, well, our profession
the importance of a realtor.
We have a trademarked moniker called realtor, 2 syllables, ladies and gentlemen, not realtor. So realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, which is the largest trade association on the planet. We advocate for property rights, and we advocate for our ability to do business. Without us, frankly, I think there would be legislative anarchy. Case in point, we've got 39 municipalities in King County alone. As realtors, we are at every municipality's doorstep saying, hey, we're here to protect our clients' property rights. And I can give you, a multitude of different stories relating to what might happen if we're not there.
Yes.
The good news is that we are.
Yes.
And there are lots of people who benefit from the advocacy that realtors practice both at the local and state and even national level, who are not realtors but are licensed to sell real estate. And when I'm talking to my clients, I have a very simple statement. I am a member of a profession. People who aren't realtors are simply licensed to sell real estate. Yeah,
great definition there. And I want to, a shout out again and thank you for all the time that you spend, because it's time away from your family, it's time away from your being able to your business and what you do with your buyers and sellers. So greatly appreciated that you have that commitment. So as we're wrapping things up here, Tyler, if there's an agent that's listening of getting in the industry or is having a challenge where they're at, how do you decide on the best brokerage to go to? Because there's a lot of options out there.
Well, I can't imagine anybody who's competent not wanting to come work with us because we're the best there is. And we also have the best looking office in town.
It is gorgeous. I will have to say yes.
But in the absence of that, never make your decisions based on the lowest cost. Make your decisions based on the best support and the best leadership and the best mentorship. The best tools available to growing your business. There are too many people who are in a race to the bottom. That's not certainly who we are as a company or as a brand. And if you want to expand your business and experience growth, then you want wind in your sails. And you get that from companies like ours. Yeah,
well said. And just like anything else that you're purchasing, discounted shop equals discounted price equals discounted service. Yep. Yes, exactly. Tyler, thank you so much for coming back in studio. Look forward to having you again, hopefully really soon.
Always a pleasure, Tina. Thanks.
And coming up next in the Money Hour, are you thinking about purchasing a flipped home? How to spot hidden issues. Keith Medley and Brian Walker with Final Phase Inspection right here in 1150 AM, KKNW, after this short break.
You may have noticed our community is experiencing a homeless crisis like never before. But what you might not know is that homeless families, especially mothers with children, are on the rise. They're one of the fastest growing groups right now. They are unsafe on the streets, and although they may not be visible, they are out there and they need our help. Mama's Hands is changing lives in our community through the House of Hope. It's a shelter for women and children in need. House of Hope provides not only support services, but a home-like environment for these families. After they graduate from the program, House of Hope staff continue to keep the families engaged and supported through a whole year-long aftercare program.
I'm Kimberly Jackson, Director at Mama's Hands. We would love to have you get more involved in helping homeless families and individuals in crisis in our community. Please visit our website at mamashands.org. That's MAMMASHANDS.org, mamashands.org. Thank you.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, February 17th show. I build a network of elite industry professionals, each week sharing their knowledge and expertise to my listeners. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. To talk with my guest or connect with them, please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And next guest right here in studio, I have Keith Medley and Brian Walker with Final Phase Inspection. How to spot hidden issues on flipped homes. Well, thanks you guys for coming back. I love having you here representing the inspection space and the wealth of knowledge that both of you have, so thank you.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Tina.
Yeah, thanks for having us back.
You're welcome, Brian. A little bit about both Keith and Brian. Keith Medley is born and raised in the Pacific Northwest, giving him firsthand experience with the changing weather's patterns and the seasonal issues that affect our homes and our lives. Keith began working in the residential construction industry over 30 years ago. And with the experience gained from over 1,000 inspections and 5 years of continued business growth, Keith continues to guide and develop a final phase inspection as a premier care. Keith is also a member of the leadership team and strategic partner with Legacy Success Alliance, an organization focused on protecting our seniors and families by empowering individuals to save time, money, and reduce stress while creating peace of mind and successful legacies for all generations. And Brian Walker was also born and raised in the Northwest and also has 30 years experience as a contractor serving the needs of the Puget Sound homeowners. His extensive knowledge and hands-on experience, including remodels, repairs, and new construction, as well as restoration for fire and water damage. With hundreds of successful home inspections and years of experience as a licensed home inspector and structural pest inspector, Brian is a proud member of the Final Phase Inspection team heading up the South End operations. And I love saying Linden to Lacey. That's the areas that they work over at Final Phase Inspection. And excited about the topic. We haven't brought this into studio with you guys yet, so first time in all the years that you guys have represented the inspection space here for my show. How do you spot hidden issues on flipped homes? Now, in current real estate market of historical low inventory and historically high home prices, we are seeing more and more homes being renovated or flipped, with property addresses critical to potentially dangerous issues. Learning how to spot hidden issues on flipped homes will save you a significant waste of time and money and stress, because wasted time and wasted money is a stressed out life.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, Keith, what do you mean by hidden issues?
Well, let's preface this. First, hidden issues is just something we can't see. But remember, we're talking about a flipped home. And a flipped home is really a situation where somebody has purchased a property with the sole intention of selling it for more money than they purchased it for. This can be an investor, a contractor. People that own their homes and remodel it to sell it is not typically what we refer to as a flipped home. But a hidden issue on a flipped home can be something that is simply was not disclosed.
Yeah.
And it could be accidentally not disclosed, and it could be intentionally not disclosed. In many cases, issues just can't be seen. Other cases we find, and this is really the issue we're talking about today, is where issues are intentionally not disclosed and then intentionally hidden, meaning effort has been placed to hide something that was wrong with the house, ultimately resulting in many different conditions. In some cases, they will come to light maybe during a home inspection. In some cases, they're hidden to the point that as a home inspector, they're difficult to find. But these hidden issues typically, well, remember that contractors are professionals, and they're professional hiders if they want to. So they can hide things in a way that...
And you're saying not everybody has integrity.
Not everybody does. There are many wonderfully flipped homes, but there are cases, and Brian will address this as well, but there are cases where they're forced into a situation where can they make money or can't they? And if they find that they can't make money, the first way to do it is to spend a little to hide it rather than spend a lot to fix it.
Yeah, pretty scary. So, Brian, why are we seeing more hidden issues on flip homes right now? What is causing this to escalate?
Well, it seems the main key to this discussion is the market and its condition. Low inventory, as we see prices start to skyrocket in some of these markets. I mean, pretty much flippers and investors are almost completely out of the core area.
Yes.
It's just because prices are in the millions. So what that's doing is it's forcing people out, and they're looking at more distressed properties. They're paying more for them. Where is your first-time home buyer at? The same place that all these investors are at.
Yeah.
So there's a big fight for these homes. So when an investor gets there, he may have spent more than what he thought, or he or she thought they were going to spend, and now their margin for repair is much less.
Got it.
So what that does is that tends to make them want to come up with some creative ways to fix things, or a little more paint here, I think, will make this look fine.
Yeah. Wow.
So you want to, when you walk up to it, you want to make sure and be careful what you're looking at. And a lot of these investors now, they'll get wholesale properties. Well, when they're on auction, they can't go look at them.
Yep.
So they're taking a really big risk.
And then they're passing that risk on to the new buyer if they can get away with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Any chance they get.
Yeah.
So, and it's, I don't want to believe that people are intentionally being less integrity.
But there are some.
Although I think people are being forced into this position.
Yeah.
And so it makes the whole buyer beware much larger sign than normal.
Yeah. So true. So, Keith, what is the best way to spot these issues even during a quick initial walkthrough?
You know, that's really what we hope to share with your listeners, is that 10 to 15 minute walkthrough that you're going to get with your realtor or by yourself when you swing by that house is really the time to try and make some decisions. You know, time is so limited for all of us right now, so that deciding to move forward or not could mean the difference of, did you see something that makes you question the condition, the integrity of this purchase. So the best way to do it is to follow a very simple process. In 10 to 15 minutes, a buyer can walk up to a house, spend 2 minutes walking around the outside. Most people don't do that. They go in through the front door and forget. So much of what you can see and learn happens on the outside of the house.
Yes, makes sense.
And it's not what you see when you're looking eye level at things. Look down at your feet and look up, because that's where most of the issues are, foundation-wise, roof-wise, things like that. The other thing is to leverage some very simple tools when you're out there looking. You don't need to be a home inspector at all, and you don't have to carry a tool belt. Your keys are a great tool to tap on siding or probe something that may not look right. We certainly don't want to encourage people to stick their fingers through damaged siding, but a key could say that, boy, there is damage here, and we can certainly see it by testing and tapping. The other thing is use your eyes, your nose. Are there a bunch of plug-in scent blocks? Are they trying to hide smells? Is there a dehumidifier running down in the basement of a daylight basement, meaning that there may be issues? So look for the signs. Look beyond. We call it the creamy center, right? There are things that aren't aesthetic that really should give an indication as to conditions. And lastly, and I'll reiterate this, look up, look down, look outside of your primary level scope of field, because that's where you'll see things.
Yeah, okay. So, Brian, what about the most common hidden issues that are found on the outside of the house?
Well, let's start by talking about siding. Obviously, I'll use LP siding as an example because it's the most known to have issues. So a lot of times when you walk up to a house, generally with LP siding, it has grain to it. There's a grain pattern stamped into it. I go around the house sometimes and I see smooth spots. Well, that shouldn't be there. More than likely, they may have had a little bit of damage. Cleaned it out and then puttied it over, maybe caulked it and painted it. These are really good indications that there may be an issue, an underlying issue. Another thing you do, it's really easy because when you're walking around, like Keith was talking, look up, look down, generally the lower portions are going to show on the face of the siding, where as you're walking through, you can also look up at the bottom of the siding. And if you see swelling or see some fat siding when it shouldn't be, you know that you could have possibly a bigger issue than you may consider. You can also go around, like Keith said, you don't want to go around and push your finger through the siding and damage people's homes. Although you can push on it a little bit and feel that softness. All that siding and those materials should be rigid and hard. And if they're not, if they have if there's some flex, there could be more there.
Okay.
The other thing you want to look at is the roof. And a lot of times, obviously, all roofs have some sort of color. And as long as they're not black to start with, it's really easy to identify some things. So if you have darker, splotchy areas on a roof with maybe brown or white, that could be a matter that somebody's pressure washed it. Or you could have brand new roofing in a spot, and that could mean repairs. It'll question things in the attic.
Okay.
So when you want to know if there's issues in the attic, the best way to look is, again, using Keith's reference, look up.
Yes.
The ceiling and the top of the walls are going to be your best indicator if there's issues. Fresh paint, that's the same as putting scent blocks, in the house to make it smell better.
Yeah.
If you see fresh paint, I always look a little harder.
Yeah, okay.
So it's that's what I see on the exterior.
So, Keith, what about you? Other major issues on the outside of the home?
Well, there's really two other main ones that we're running into. The first one being foundation issues, cracks in the foundations, and potentially settling sections of homes. Typically on the outside of a house, you're only going to see a few inches of the exposed concrete wall when you're outside. And again, we don't encourage people to go, crawling through someone else's crawl space. But on the outside, if you see signs of cracks, a significant crack for reference, if you can take your pinky finger sideways and stick it in that crack, then it's a relevant crack.
Okay.
The other thing to look for is not only the one crack, but we call them opposing cracks, meaning that cracks could exist in a foundation that a certain corner of that foundation is cracking and settling away. So look for those signs, because typically if you're seeing uneven floors or a certain corner of that house seems to slope down, could be a foundation issue. And again, that's where you bring a professional in to look. But we're also seeing where people have repaired those cracks to try and hide them. Anytime you see something that looks like a foundation has been repaired, it's a big flag, because foundations typically shouldn't require repairing. If it's been painted, another thing. Lastly is moisture in the crawl space. And again, we're here in the Northwest where moisture is our friend. It's also when you look at walk around the outside of a building and you see a pipe sticking out of one of the foundation vents, either a white pipe or black pipe, it means there's a sump pump under there. Sump pumps only go into places where there's extra water that they're trying to get rid of. Look at the ground outside. Is it mushy and soft? Do you see these signs that they're trying to get water out of the foundation? Those are the things that sometimes people won't mention that there's an issue, but there are signs that there are issues.
Okay. So, Brian, we've talked about the outside of the house. Let's go ahead and move into the inside. What are some hidden issues that you see with inside the home?
Well, a lot of your issues are going to happen around moisture areas. So let's talk about plumbing and fixtures and where they connect to walls, floors, and cabinets. So what you'll see is a lot of times, let's take kitchen sinks, for instance. People seem to pack a large amount of stuff into their kitchen sink. It's under their sink in their cabinet. It's amazing. You open it up and you wonder why the doors aren't popping off. Well, if an investor gets in there and he hasn't had a chance to see the house, he or she, then they're like, oh my gosh, we have this issue under the sink. What are we going to do? We're going to dry it out, and then we're going to put some vinyl over the top of it. No one will ever see it. I always look underneath those things, because inevitably I always find damage under those areas. So other places are as well in the bathroom sinks. Look around the floors, like around your bathtub and around the toilets. If there's some differences in the flooring, some deficiencies you might see there, maybe it's not smooth. Another way they're doing it is they're putting in, the laminate flooring is the fix-all for everything right now. So they're putting laminate flooring over top of existing bathroom floors instead of tearing it out and making sure there's no damage underneath.
Yeah.
A lot of times we'll get in, there was a brand new floor, and get in a crawl space, and the subfloor's rotted out.
Yeah.
And they just went right over the top of it.
Wow.
So those are the things, and again, going back to looking at your ceiling,
yes,
which all transfers from the attic down, your roof. If your roof line is sagging, you can, it just transcends, like Keith was saying, it just transcends through the whole building.
Yeah.
So
there's just a lot of issues that could come up with hidden issues, things that maybe trying to avoid from you seeing, and just be cautious of that. And thank you guys for coming in and bringing this into studio, and we'll have you back again soon.
Thanks, Tina. Pleasure to be here.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Coming up next on the Money Hour, Caring Transition Seattle, understanding the why of what they do. Jennifer Black with Caring Transition Seattle, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, after this short break.
Would you like to make a real difference for local individuals and families that are struggling with poverty, homelessness, abuse, and violence? Assistance League of the East Side is an all-volunteer, nonprofit organization that works to improve the lives of our neighbors every day. With your generosity, we can help individuals and families right here in our community through our philanthropic programs, including Operation School Bell. This year, Operation School Bell has provided 3,500 local children in need the opportunity to shop for new clothes, shoes, and coats. This helps them focus on learning, and they go to school with more confidence. To learn more about how you can become a volunteer with our organization or make a tax-deductible donation, visit aleastside.org.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, February 17th show. I am here to empower our community, providing you opportunities and solutions when it comes to your money. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150, or go online at themoneyhour.com to discuss anything regarding money with the guests that I have in studio today. Jennifer, thank you so much for coming back.
Oh, happy to be here. Thank you.
And that is my next guest, Jennifer Black with Caring Transitions Seattle. I just said thank you to her before I introduced her. Understanding the why of what Caring Transitions Seattle does, and a little bit about Jennifer. Jennifer brings to Caring Transitions over 20 years of experience covering real estate sales, account development, and sales management. She has been in the Northwest residence for over 49 years and is excited to provide much needed services in Northwest families. Caring Transitions services are solution-based and designed to help families navigate home transitions due to moving, aging parents, to senior housing, relocation, divorce, or death. No matter the scope of the project, they seek to streamline the process and minimize stress. And, I'm all about streamlining, and it just makes life a whole lot easier altogether. So understanding the why of what you guys do with Caring Transitions, you were one of the first Caring Transitions office in the Northwest. Why did you decide to become a senior downsizing specialist, Jennifer?
Well, personally, we had family that was going through downsizing, and they had needs. And as we started to look around, we realized that there just weren't a lot of people out there that could provide services to assist them. And so it just kind of piqued our curiosity. And we thought, well, if our families needed assistance, there's got to be a lot of other families out there that do as well. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of started us down this path. What are the opportunities in Seattle, and how could we really help people, and, why? Why are we doing this? And, it's one of those things where so many people have families. They also have families that are not local. They have their own families, and so a lot of times they don't have time to be able to help their aging parents. Yes. Or as people are starting to grow older as well, a lot of times what we'll find is we'll be working with some parents, and their kids will say, "Well, I'm starting to downsize too." Yes. So there's a lot of people out there that just need this type of assistance, and at different levels.
Yeah. Well, and that's where a great passion for what you do in business coming from a big why behind it. So thank you so much for sharing that, Jennifer, with my listeners. So how has senior downsizing changed since you started in 2011?
Well, I think that there's more of a recognition out there. People understand that this is a service that can be provided to them. When I first started, one of the things that would come up often is people would say, I wish you knew you existed. My parents were going through this. We don't hear that quite as often. I think the other thing that has been a real positive is that there's just a lot more offices out there providing this type of service. Caring Transitions alone now has 7 offices in the Washington area. And so instead of being restricted, geographically as far as where you can get assistance, now you can basically reach out no matter where you live in the state of Washington and have someone available to help you. So I think that that's been a big plus. Just there's more people out there being able to help a greater number of people.
Yes. Yeah. So why should families use a professional downsizing service?
Well, it really depends on what a lot of their needs are. And I think that, understanding why you need help, when we talk to people about what we do, people understand what packing is. People understand what, estate sale services are. They understand the whole concept of moving. A lot of times what they don't understand is why it's important to bring in a professional to assist. And I think one of the things that's important, we touched on it earlier, is stress.
Yes.
It's really stressful.
Yeah.
And you all know kind of what goes through to get someone from, their current home to a smaller home over a relatively short period of time.
Yes.
And so I think that just eliminating the stress dynamic within the family, also just options. A lot of times we are able to bring to the table greater options for families that perhaps they didn't know was available to them. So it's just having that knowledge base and opening up the different opportunities to get things accomplished. There's different ways that you can approach downsizing someone. It's not a cookie cutter. And so being able to go in and say, well, I think this is the best option for you. You should maybe think about doing this versus that.
Yes.
It's really just having some professionals that have done this time and time again that can make this work a little bit smoother for you.
Makes sense. So families that are considering using a company to assist with downsizing, what questions are important for them to ask that company to make sure that they're choosing the right fit for them?
Well, I would say it's important to know why you're reaching out as well.
Okay.
So what is it that, what are you trying to achieve? What does your family need? And once you kind of have an understanding of that, make sure that the person that you're working with can meet those needs. Are you someone that has your own employees? Do you start with, us from start to finish? Do you manage the whole process? Do you subcontract out any part of the process? Really just making sure that what it is you need to have done, that person can provide you.
Of course.
If they can't, make sure that they have, other options available to you, whether it's a referral network or someone else that can work with you to make those things happen. I think it's also important to ask for referrals. Make sure you get recommendations, referrals. Are you, licensed? Are you insured? Just, kind of the best business practices. Now that the industry has grown and there's more people out there, there's also a lot of people out there that just say, hey, I'm going to be a downsizing service.
Yeah.
Well, there's a little bit more to that as well. And so you just want to make sure that you do all of your research and ask all your questions and make sure that people are, they're in it for the right reason. And I always say, too, make sure that the person you're working with is open-minded. One of the things that I found, and I think it's one of the most interesting things about what we do, is that every day and every scenario is a little bit different. So someone needs to be able to go in, walk into someone's home and think outside the box. What's the best way to make this work for this family?
Yeah.
And so just being able to think creatively creatively,
yes,
I think can be a benefit as well.
Well, and in all of our industries and professions, it's important to have, great passion for people and to be able to navigate different personalities, but even more so in what you're doing, because you're dealing with families and sometimes, multiple siblings, and everybody has a different opinion. And so really being able to navigate through that process, I would imagine, would be really critically important as well.
It is very important.
Yeah.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So you've talked about a referral network. Do you have a referral network for clients that are working with you? If there's pieces of services that you don't offer, that you're going to get them connected with those right companies?
We do. It's really important. Whenever I go to meet with a client, and I say this all the time, I may not be the perfect fit for what you need to have done,
yes,
but I'll certainly try and find someone that is. And so we've spent a lot of time meeting with different providers. And, there's
like
several,
we have
in the studio, which is wonderful. And just finding those people that can,
yes,
are available, are reputable, and that can work hard and on behalf of the client.
Mm-hmm.
So that is definitely, I think, important. If we can't, if we're not the right fit, and sometimes we're not,
sure,
let's make sure we find someone that can provide the correct service for that,
yes,
for that family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Downsizing. When is the best time to start that process?
I
know we should always be downsizing.
Should always be downsizing.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, you can downsize at any age.
Yes.
Everyone seems to think that you need to be a senior, but I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Uh-huh.
I think that we've done projects for people where they've started planning years in advance.
Mm-hmm.
We've done projects for people where I get a phone call and say, my house is closing in 2 weeks. I need to have everything out.
Yeah.
I think the more time you give yourself, the better, because, again, it goes back to that stress and also just the ability to make good decisions.
Yes.
People tend to make better decisions that they're happier with long term when they're not under these time restrictions.
Of course.
And that's one thing with families and their belongings. There's such a connection to the things they've had in their homes for so many years. When they feel that there's this time constraint to get rid of things, they may make these choices that down the road they're going to be really upset about, unhappy with, or just sad that they had to, get rid of grandma's, old cedar chest or whatever it is. And so I just feel that if you give yourself a little bit more time, you can make better choices that long term that you and the family will be happier living with.
Yeah,
so.
Great advice. So we've been talking about senior downsizing, but I know your company doesn't just work with seniors, correct?
Right. Yeah. So we've worked in the past with single family members. So maybe mom or dad, 2 kids, they need help because they're getting ready to move. We've worked with busy professionals. They just don't have time to do it themselves. We do a lot of work with people that might have collections, like specific items that they want to liquidate and maybe don't have another option out there to be able to do it. So there's a lot of reasons why people downsize. Sometimes it's because maybe they've been collecting a certain thing for many years and they're tired of collecting those items.
Yes.
And so let's move them on to someone else and, maybe start a different collection. So I get calls for all sorts of reasons. So it's not just about seniors. That just seems to be the demographic that needs a little bit more
the
help.
Assistance, yes.
Yeah,
Makes
but
sense.
We're open to talk to anyone. So, that's never an issue for me. I love to meet with all sorts of people.
So Jennifer, first step to get things started would be?
Reach out. Call for a consult, whether it's Caring Transitions Office or someone else that does downsizing services. Make an appointment and have us come out, take a look around. Again, we may be the perfect fit for what you need to have done, or we may not, but let's at least have a conversation and start moving you in the direction of what could be the right fit.
Yes.
So anytime, schedule an appointment and ask a lot of questions and go from there.
So as I wrap up my time here with you, I've got a couple minutes left. I would love to finish our time together with a story and a recent example of someone that you've helped in the senior downsizing and how it made an impact on their family and made that process easier.
Well, actually, one that I just worked on this past summer that it was so much fun. It was very fascinating. It was a family. It was a large family. There were 6 siblings involved. And mom and dad, over the course of many, many years, had collected quite amassed quite a large collection of Native American items. Everything from baskets to pottery and implements and just the most amazing collection. And when the family, when Mom had passed away and they needed to go ahead and start getting the house ready to sell, there was this big question about how are we going to take care of this? You know, do we ship 100 items here? Do we other items here? You know, who gets this? And it became this just stopping point where this collection that had brought so much joy to the family over the course of the years was now the reason why they weren't able to sort of move on, get the house on the market, and make all of these things happen. And so I was fortunate enough to be able to work with this family and work with them doing some online auctions to liquidate this amazing collection. And what was so great is that since we did it online, we were able to get this large footprint out there across the United States. So a lot of these beautiful pieces went to not only resellers, but to collections.
Wow.
So the family just felt this great relief knowing that all of these things that their family had cherished so much weren't just going to shops to be resold, that they were going to be cherished and taken care of, and kind of their history is going to be passed on through other collectors in the Northwest as well. So those don't happen every day, but I sure love it when they do.
Well, it's a great story and a testament and why the importance of really having an expert to help navigate through that process. And Jennifer, again, I really appreciate having you here. Look forward to having you back.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And this is your host and mortgage expert signing off for the day, but I'll be here next weekend, same time, same place, right here on 1150 AM KKNW. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, NMLS 7233. The views expressed by the speakers on the preceding program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC.